Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
So now we're going to do a review of Cellulose, which is a worker placement game. And it is for ages 14 and up, 1 to 5 players, 60 to 90 minutes. Now, I think younger students could play this, younger people, but they put 14 on there in order to avoid having to do product testing. So let's talk about what you're doing in this game.
Okay.
It is a score the most points worker placement game, and this is where we left it. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out our how to play and playthrough. There were 2 boards, so unlike Cytosis, where there is 1 board, this one has 2 boards because you're trying to get health points that are kept track around here as the tree, well, for this plant, trying to get health points, building the cell wall. You could also do other things to get health points too, that have cards like getting starch and just helping the plant be healthy. So the game will end when the cell wall, oops. It won't end if you do it that way, when the cell wall is built. And how do you do that? Well, every turn the game is going to add 1 at night. So there's 3 phases you see right here. This is the night phase, the 4 steps you got to do. So you'll add 1, but then we could also add, these are carbohydrates to the cell wall. And you do that by doing photosynthesis. You need 6 water and 6 carbohydrates, then you get a carbohydrate. And then you do this action to add it to there. And you'll see that there's, the earlier ones are worth more points than the later ones. And so you got to manage different things, such as getting water here. And as the game progresses, there will be more water available, but it starts out at this level. As you add things to the cell wall, the water level will raise up. You also got the central vacuole where water is stored. And if you have the most cubes in this area, see, I was the red player, Julie was the blue, this is the purple, yellow, and I guess gray. Is that a gray, maybe?
Maybe.
You get victory points by raising that up, and then you can get an additional action tokens. So you see here that each player will start out with 3. In a 2-player game, though, you'll have an additional action token, and there'll be 1 here. You can win if you have the most water in the central vacuole. In a 3 to 5-player game, you'll have extra ones up here, and more than 1 player can win these, depending if they're first or second place. So you can go to the nucleus to get proteins, to get cards, and get the first player token. You can get hormones here. I already mentioned here, this is how you build the cell wall. Here you can spend carbohydrates to get ATPs, which you'll use on the plant board, and to get cards. You'll see that we used up some cards here. So these would be normally 4 up. So those are the actions, the worker placement actions. You use action tokens, and the cool thing is you can use a gray action token. So I could take this action twice, but if Julie already had hers there, I couldn't do it because you can only have 1 of each color. So the bigger boxes, you can have multiple action tokens here, but in the smaller ones, you can only have 1 action token. Now what's going on here? So you can spend here at the plasma membrane to go up the shoot or into the roots, and it gives you positive things that happen in the morning, no, sunrise. So you got a sunrise phase where you'll get bonuses here. So I had my 2 plant tokens here and here, because you can't go back once you've committed down a path and you stop on that path. That's where you're going to be the whole game. So I'll be getting 6 carbon dioxide. I can do a photosynthesis, but it cost me to move up here. At one point, it cost me 1 hormone and another hormone, and then here it cost me 2 ATPs and a hormone to get here. And there's one-time bonuses that you get when you move there the first time. So anything in red is cost, anything in white is positive. So you get those bonuses in the on sunrise, and so Julie was getting 8 carbon dioxides. I was getting 6 in a free photosynthesis if I had the 6 water and 6 carbon dioxide, now, which I did, because down here I got water here too, and then you added water to the central vacuole, which helps you win, points, more points. So this is where we were at the end of the game. Eventually you start here with both of these, and you do this action here to move them up, and there could be cards that can help you do that too. So the cards, you buy them here, and 2 always come off at nighttime, and then you slide it down, and you'll see, for instance, that These are the cards I have, and so if you have enzymes, this is where you get some kind of deck building here. If you have this enzyme, you get the effect here, and then later on, if you play another enzyme, you can play a protein to do the bottom part again. And so I had 3 of these, and so if I had enough proteins, when I play a third card, I could do this one. There was no bonus here. And so this is always the immediate effect, victory points, and then later on, you can do the bottom one if you have enough proteins. And then you have some cards that will give you bonuses at the end of the game. So this is a bonus at sunrise, but at the end of the game, you get bonus victory points. And then you have the starch. So I had 2 in-game scorings. So even though I had those cards, Julie did even better than me in cards. Look at all the cards she had. She was just buying cards left and right. So I kind of didn't do well at that. So Julie, if you watch the playthrough, I had 91, and she had 100 and 111, because this one, she wrapped it around twice. So the game will end when it gets to here. Whoever scores the most points wins. And so that's a quick little overview.
That was really good, sweetie. I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
You did a good job.
Yeah, so it helps when you do these videos back to back and you can remember things.
Well, now we're going to tell you what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we thought was neutral about the game. And then after we're done with that, we tell you how we rated it on the BGG scale. So I get to go first, as always.
Okay, so here we go.
I thought this was an interesting plant game. I don't know if I've played a plant game before, and maybe I have and I don't remember, but this was pretty cool. I liked it. The components are really nice. I mean, come on, look how stinking cute the little plant is in the planter.
Yeah, that was
that's just so cute.
That was something that was upgraded. At least this was.
Oh.
These came. This is the collector's edition.
And they're heavy. I mean, they're not.
It's cardboard in the regular edition, but most pieces here come in the regular edition. I'm trying to remember which ones come in the collector edition, but a lot of it was upgrades through the campaign, like, for instance, having what they call linen cards. All it is foil stamping, guys, but it does add more durability to it. See, as you see there's that foil stamp print there.
Yeah,
I thought it is
really good.
It's a press sheet, and they do a foil stamp over the top of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, going on. The cards in the board are really colorful. The art is just, I really like it. I mean, the cards are just, everything just pops. It just comes off the board. It comes off the card. It's just, it's nice to look at. And so that makes it more fun to play. I think it could be a little too sciencey for people who, aren't used to playing bigger games. Like if they're just used to Uno or Monopoly or Sorry or something like that. And I have to admit, the first time I played this, I even thought it was too sciencey. And after I had the second time going around, I got more used to it. I thought I would always get my butt kicked in this game because David, I watched him with these cards, and you know how he said I played with more cards? I watched him that first game getting cards and getting cards and getting cards, and I thought, I'm going to try that this time, and because he beat me bad the first game. And so I kind of pulled a David on David, and I got lots of cards, although he did have to tell me how to use them.
Yeah, you needed help with the enzymes, but the point is you did take the initiative to get the cards, and that's why you scored so much better than me, because you had so many.
But it shows to you what a good teacher you are, because I watched you the first game, and you beat me so bad, and you even said, you should have gotten more cards. Well,
and that's to your point, what I was about to say, is that when you say regular gamers, someone who's not used to worker placement games or games that take over 60 minutes,
Worker placement, yeah.
When you say it's too sciencey, you're going to see in my part of the review, it lacks context. So I was able to make those connections the first game. You made the connections the second game, but someone might not have the patience to want to play this again a second time if they have a bad experience the first time. But you did, because you're an experienced gamer. So that's my point that I was going to say.
And that's kudos to you. You've helped me do that. And last but not least, and this is God's honest truth, it did make my brain hurt both times. It's just a really long game, and there's a lot of connection stuff. And as I just mentioned, David did have to help me a lot. I would buy these cards, but lots of times I didn't understand how I was supposed to use them.
And you'd get better at it. So a third time, you probably wouldn't need my help, but I had to remind her that when these games, when these enzymes trigger,
confusing.
It's like when we play Legendary, she'll need help with that, or Clank when certain things
He needs
trigger.
to help me with that too.
Right, or Dominion. You have to say, oh, you got to play these cards in order to, and eventually Julie will be able to do it on her own. So the third game, she'll probably be able to do this without me having to help her.
Maybe, but I don't see playing it right away because I took a really good nap after we played this because it took really long. And granted, you know, David did an awesome how to play. We did our playthrough, and then we played. You know, that's a lot of time. And so by the time we were done, my brain was like, okay, that's it, Julie, time to nap. So I did.
Right. So my aspects is it's more engaging and less restrictive worker placement than cytosis. So if you have played cytosis, this is the human biology version, and we haven't played it in whenever this came out. We played it a few times when it first came out, and I haven't wanted to touch it again because I thought it was too restrictive. In other words, there was obvious choices of what to do. Or if you play with 3 players, it's like, there's nothing left. I guess I got to go here.
Oh.
All right. Whereas this game, there seems to be more options, especially this additional board right here makes it a lot more interesting than the cytosis version, because you can decide to start building the cell membrane and start getting the starch right away. But then if you don't develop this, it can limit you later on in the game because you want to get these free resources at sunrise. So I thought that this was more open-ended, less restrictive than cytosis.
Interesting.
Quality components and art, as Julie already mentioned. So the rulebook lacks context. Casual gamers will struggle. So for those of you who know about my dissertation is how to write comprehensible rulebooks, which you can take a look at the videos on the homepage of our YouTube channel and on my Google site. And so when you're reading this, unless you've had advanced botany courses, or you've had AP botany, or I had my biology, and we both did in college. I do remember something about this, okay? But if someone who doesn't know much about science, when you go through here and you don't know how a worker placement game works, you're going to be like, I have no idea what this game does, what this is about. So I needed to spend a little bit more time explaining how does this all work? I needed to describe a better overview with if I show you the board here, that you're going to do this, to do this, to do this. It doesn't give that, all it does is talk about it as a paragraph, but people need to see things visually.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a hard, experienced rulebook readers like me will be able to get through it, especially if they play worker placement games. But if a casual person says, oh, look, let's get this for Johnny and play a science game, because we know he or she is taking, in this case, Johnny, right?
Yeah.
He's taking a botany class. This is not going to be the type of game where you're, I guess what I'm trying to say is, caution to the wind to anybody who's going to get this, who thinks that they're magically going to be able to learn these concepts, and the child is going to be able to take, even if you can get through the rule book, take what you're learning here and apply it to what they're learning in school. A college course, maybe, or an AP course, yes. But if you're not taking those courses, I don't see, unless the parent or a teacher helps students make those connections, or a young person makes those connections, it's not going to come easily from doing this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to explain more about that in a minute here. Okay. So it needs more context.
Yeah.
So the focus reduces educational classroom usage, which I'm trying to get to. So what happens here, you have a book here, there's a ton of PhDs helped write it.
Wow.
But look, walls of text.
Oh, boring.
I could not give this to AP kids, maybe, but you got to remember, students who take AP, anybody can take an AP course. And even then, I've taught AP, not AP Science, but I've taught AP. And I've taught gifted and talented. I've been an administrator in gifted and talented, and I still teach teachers gifted and talented methods at Touro University. I would not give this to students unless I knew that they had a deep interest in botany, and I knew that my AP curriculum or my gifted and talented curriculum were going to cover this, which is this is cells going at the micro level, okay? I read online that some people says we wouldn't be covering this until college.
Really?
And those are not, yeah. Now, I remember we covered some of this when we talked about plants and biology, but we didn't go to this detail. And but anyways, look, walls of text. Now, if this was illustrated with maybe like an eyewitness book or a coloring book that takes you through the process that this is what happens in the cells, and then as the cells do this, and it shows visuals and a flow chart, charts and stuff like that. But look, this is all.
Wow.
It requires a lot. So an adult who has a good understanding of science would have to interpret this. And so as a classroom teacher, I'm not going to take the time to do this, especially if this part of the curriculum is only going to be maybe one or two multiple choice questions.
Oh.
I would not spend, so that's my other point, I would not take classroom time to do this in the school. Could I do this as enrichment in a club? Or if students got done early and they wanted to choose to do this, but then I would have to take time to teach them how to do that because most kids cannot play this on their own.
Even a gifted?
They couldn't read the rule book. I remember I taught gifted and talented
Right, I know.
almost my whole career. Okay.
And you don't think they could do it?
No.
Wow.
Even if I showed them,
Yeah.
I would still have to be. And again, this would be an enrichment. So kids get done early, right? So it's a choice. Hey, you're done with your work. You could play cellulose. And then I would have to be able to have it on a piece of cardboard. So that way, because they wouldn't be able to finish it in a period.
Oh.
So then I'd have to lift it up, put it somewhere so other kids wouldn't mess with it. Because if you teach AP or gifted and talented, you're usually not teaching all day. You might have one period or two periods, like honors or something like that, okay?
Right.
So they don't have to be able to lift it out. So then the kids would have to be so independent that they could do this on their own, which most kids aren't. So the whole idea of providing enrichment is that I can work with the other kids and not be bothered why the kids are doing enrichment. Otherwise, I have to juggle dealing with the kids doing independent work, which goes against it being independent. It's not independent if I have to help them. Okay, so as a choice, I wouldn't put this on the menu unless I played it after school and taught them. But then you see what I'm getting at? After school, how many kids are going to show up after school?
That's true.
Now maybe I can teach one kid during lunch, and then they can, and it's a really strong kid.
And they could teach it.
And they teach other kids. They're kids like that, But out of how many kids you have in your classroom, how many kids have the leadership skills
Probably not many.
and to do that?
Yeah. Or the desire to want to do
right.
it.
Yeah. So it's possible. I think homeschoolers will use this more. And possibly an after-school program. So despite all that negativity, homeschoolers and after-school programs will more likely use this. But even then, the parent or the educator will have to help them make the connections. Because this is, unless you have a really highly gifted student, that could be a senior or junior that could get through this if they're really interested in botany.
They'd have to really love it.
If they're really interested in it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my little rant.
You did an awesome job reading all through that and teaching me. That's for darn sure.
All right. So science supplement lacks accessibility. I said that already. And what would make this more useful? Now, Genius Games likes to go at the microscopic level a lot with atoms, and now with cells with 2 games. Want to take a step out. Instead, I want to use water and grow a garden. Okay, and you could have some of the cells, elements of the cells that you need to worry about certain things so that the plants would be would grow. But right now, the way it is, it's such at a microscopic level, and some people said online that they're not even too sure how hormones work. For instance, that this is a guess. It's kind of abstract. So. This is pretty abstract. What's not abstract is this. This is very context, growing things.
Yes.
So you could make a game where you're growing things, where you got to worry about how far the roots go, how high the plant grows, and you got to worry about pests and things like that. So just take it up a level.
That'd be neat.
Okay. What's a level above that, which I don't recommend necessarily. So you have this is a microbiology level. Okay. Then you have the level I'm talking about where it's just growing plants, and you got to worry about pests. And
Sure.
All right. The level above that is biomes and planetary mechanics, which I've had a course in, where you're talking about how far the Earth is away from the sun, the axis and tilt of the Earth, and then you're dealing with weather patterns and things like that. That's a level I'd be
Talk
above
about
this.
science-y.
Yeah, that's a level above this, but you
Yeah.
could do a game on that. But those two things, the level above, we were talking about biomes and planetary mechanics, is more less abstract, and you're going to answer more questions about that in high school and middle school courses. When you get into growing things, that goes all the way down to primary,
Yeah.
where children learn about growing plants.
Yep.
But this level, like I said, and I verified, there's people that say that this isn't necessarily, even if it isn't an AP class, it's not a big part of the AP class.
Wow.
So I wouldn't spend that much time on it.
What about honors?
Honors, again,
Same
you
thing.
wouldn't spend that much time. You'd be spending more time on this part.
I see.
Growing plants and soil compositions.
Okay.
And weather and how things affect that. This part may be mentioned, but for me to spend a period, take 2 periods just to play the game, it'd take a period or 2 to play it. So I'd have to basically to give them time to reflect, learn it, and do a unit on this. This is a week. I would not be able to take a week out of the curriculum to do that.
No.
All right.
Interesting.
So,
Phew.
as a teacher, I could not see using this, and I don't see unless it's a science program. Again, you as a publisher, you have this whole pool of players, right? Oops, this way. Dave narrowed it now. Who can really use this in the classroom from this big pool down to this little bit of a funnel?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that affects sales.
Sure.
Are there gamers that are going to want to play a game like this? Yes.
Maybe.
Could you sell this? What's the word for it? Market it to educators? Maybe you can get some of them to buy it, but then what would happen is they'd be very disappointed if they thought that they could use this with their curriculum. There might be some that could, but it'd be very few.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look now at how we rated it.
Okay, I'm scared after all that.
Well, we still say it's a 7,
Oh, yeah.
but that's because we're experienced gamers. What would you want to add, honey?
Oh, nothing. It's just that the very first time we did play this, I will admit I had this as a 6 because I was just so overwhelmed. I mean, really overwhelmed. And so when we played it again and I got more of the hang of it, I did raise it up because I would be willing to play this again. I may not suggest it, but if David said, hey, you want to play this, I'd be okay with it. But I'd have to be not tired, that's for darn sure. And he'd have to be very patient, as he always is with me, and tell me how to do my cards. Because if we haven't played it for a while, I won't remember how any of it works again. So.
Right, so compared to Cytosis, we will be playing this over Cytosis.
I don't even remember Cytosis.
So what does that tell you how memorable it was?
Well, he said we played it. I believe we played it. I played it, but I don't remember anything
So,
about it.
This one, I keep educational games, okay, unless it's something so abstract. There's a couple of Genius games that we didn't keep.
Oh, we didn't. Oh.
Some of the Atom games is like, I'm never going to be able to use this. The chemistry is so specific. Chemistry I've never had.
I took it for about 2 weeks in high school, and I ended up taking something else instead.
So another reason why this has, now that game has options with viruses.
Oh.
This game has a solo board here,
Oh.
and it has some scenarios that come with it that we could try. Like there's the mangrove and the cactus, and being from Arizona, the cactus is pretty cool. And then you'll see here on the back, there's a different, so there's more options.
What the heck?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is so cool.
So now you got some aquatic plants.
That is really cool.
So that's another reason why, now our rating might go up, but right now it is
A 7.
a 7.
Yep. A strong 7.
Right. And it's because of the open-endedness that this could go up to an 8 or even higher, depending on how those other scenarios play. So some gamers talk about this, and in my opinion, Cellulose fires Cytosis. And maybe we'll play it again, and because we haven't played it in a while, maybe playing it again will either confirm our feelings about that,
Right.
because our memories it's a distant past.
Oh, it's, yeah.
But if we play it again, it either will confirm it or it'll be like, I guess Cytosis wasn't that bad at all. But right now, my recollection is it's so limiting, the work replacement aspect,
I don't remember any
that
of
it's,
it.
in other words, it creates obvious choices or things that you have to do because there's nothing else left, whereas this is less so.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy this one very much. I was very intimidated when David first put it out, and I'm glad I didn't give in to that intimidation. I'm glad I tried it again, and
Well, that's what's going to happen to other games, and that's my whole point. And I know I went on for a long time about that. Some educator is going to see this, oh, I should get this for the classroom, or some parent for their homeschooler. And if they're not experienced gamers, they could have a terrible experience with this. Or they'll be like, because I've taught teachers how to use games in the classroom. That's one of the courses I teach at Turo. But for those 5 years as an administrator, I remember I observed one of my teachers. She taught for sale to her students for an economics lesson.
oh yeah,
And it was a total class lesson where she had 5 copies because we had that many in our library.
wow.
And I said, "Are you sure you want to teach this? Because it's that game, even though it's simple for us, I knew kids were going to struggle with the steps unless you took the time to really teach it to them." And that's exactly what happened. The kids struggled, and she was running around trying to get the kids to do it because she didn't take the steps to explain it. And that's a simple game compared to
that's
this.
Too bad.
So.
Oh, poor kids.
Yeah.
Poor teacher.
So I know what it takes,
Well, of
what
course you
involves, what games you could do as a total class, what games you do for small groups, which ones are for curriculum during the day, which ones that would be best for after school or for enrichment.
I think this would be a fun after school for like a
Oh, yeah.
science group or something.
Yeah,
I
see,
think
that's a
that
good
would be
point.
fun.
If it was a science club,
Yeah.
this would be definitely be good for it. So if I was Genius Games, right? Did I say that right? Genius
yeah,
Games, I would market it for Title I funding for people who have science clubs and game clubs. Yes.
Definitely.
And show them how to play through videos and the playthrough videos so they know what they're getting into. Because there's nothing like getting people to buy something, they have a terrible experience, and then they won't look at your products again.
Yeah, and you don't want that.
You don't
we don't
want
want
that.
that for you either.
Right. We don't want that for you because we do respect that you are doing educational games.
Oh yeah.
But from a standpoint of making it more marketable, look at doing games that just, hey, grow plants. Worry about sunlight. Worry about pests.
Should they put like little seeds and little soil in there too, and you could make
That-
your own
I
plant?
had,
That
I
would
had,
be kind of fun.
I had one of my teachers did that for her gifted unit. It was
I
growing
think that'd be
plants.
kind of fun.
Yeah, so it was part of the FOSS kit and stuff like that. But then she extended it out for gifted and talented kids.
Okay.
So, but this game she couldn't use. It gets to the micro level. But again, this is 14 and up. That's primary.
All right.
All right. So thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to us. I hope it helps you decide whether or not to buy it. And please watch our playthrough and how to play, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.